Anleyjones. He's the uncle of the victim, Jeremiah Ellis, and the family spokesperson. We will be providing a summary and update to the murder of 9-year-old Jeremy Ellis, an attempted murder of his younger brother that occurred on Saturday, May 14th at approximately 12:07 a.m. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have at the end. If you would please hold them until then. I would like to begin by extending our deepest condolences and sympathy from our department and all of our members to the family of the victim and their loved ones. I had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Jones a little while ago, and the amount of grief that they are going through and what they're experiencing is something that no family should ever have to. I would also like to highlight and acknowledge the efforts of our first responding officers and fire department personnel that arrived first on scene the night of this incident and horrific crime. The scene that they came upon was horrible. They immediately applied all their resources, all their training, and everything that they could bring to bear, but unfortunately in the end were unsuccessful in saving Jeremiah's life. It's a part of, and an aspect of our work that a lot of people don't reflect on or don't consider, and it has a great impact on those first responders that were at the scene at that point in time. In the last 14 days, members of our department and the North Regional Violent Crimes Task Force have worked nonstop around the clock in pursuit of this investigation. I would like to extend my thanks to each and every one of them for the sacrifice, the pursuit of justice, and the effort and professionalism that they give and gave nonstop in the pursuit of this. And their results are being announced today. I would also like to highlight the incredible amount of support that we got from the public in investigating this case. And it's that amount of support that really broke with our members and the task force that allowed us to bring this case to a successful resolution. And it's through that type of partnership and relationship that we have with the public that we could truly solve crime, prevent crime, and have an achievement towards public safety. And with that, I'll turn it over to Sergeant Oakley.
I would like to remind everyone that specific details of this case, including as evidence recovered, will not be discussed today, but will be introduced in the criminal proceedings as the court case begins. On May 14th, 2022, at 12:08 a.m., Skokie police officers responded to 4727 Main Street in reference to reports of shots fired. Upon arrival, officers located 2 victims inside of the ground floor apartment unit with gunshot wounds. One of the victims, 9-year-old Jeremiah Ellis, had multiple gunshot wounds to his torso and extremities. His younger brother suffered a gunshot wound to his foot. Life-saving measures were performed on Jeremiah by officers and Skokie Fire Department personnel. Jeremiah was transported to the hospital where he was unfortunately pronounced deceased. Jeremiah's brother was treated for his injuries at the hospital and later released. The investigation into this incident began immediately. At the time of this incident, Jeremiah and his brother were visiting their grandparents' residence in Skokie. Jeremiah and his brother were laying on the ground in the family television room. There were several other family members inside of the ground floor apartment during the incident. The family television room has a window facing the gangway of the building. At 12:06 a.m., 35 shots were fired into the building through the ground floor window. Both Jeremiah and his brother were struck as a result. An immersive search into video surveillance and witness statements provided investigators with offender and vehicle information. Evidence has been recovered that leads us to believe this is a targeted shooting. Historical cell phone data was obtained for each of the offenders. The data shows that all 3 offending cell phones were together on the night before the shooting. All 3 offender cell phones were in the area of the victim residence on the night prior to the shooting. During this time, 2 911 calls were received where it was reported suspicious vehicle with tinted windows was circling in the area. At this time, officers responded to the area but were unable to locate the vehicle or any subjects. Cell phone data reflects that on the night of the shooting, all 3 offender cell phones were again located in the area of the victim's residence prior to the incident and fled just after the incident. Extensive evidence has been analyzed and has implicated each offender as being involved in the crime. As of today, 3 subjects have been arrested and charged in connection with this incident. The subjects are Tamisha Clark, who is 32 years of age, Richard T. Banks, who is 22 years of age, and Christian Anderson, who is 16 years of age. All 3 subjects are residents of Chicago. The Cook County State's Attorney's Office has approved the following charges for each of the subjects: 1 felony count of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and aggravated battery with a firearm. Anderson has been charged as an adult. Subsequently, each subject made an appearance at bond court, and each subject was denied bond. Even though these subjects have been charged in relation to this incident, the investigation remains open and will continue until the court cases are resolved. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Stanley Johnson, who again is Jeremiah's uncle, and he's acting as a family spokesperson.
Hello, everyone. I would like to say that me and my family, we send our condolences to all the families in Texas, the 19 children, 2 adults. We would like to thank the Skokie Police Department for their hard work, the detectives that's involved in our beloved Jeremiah's case. Learning information yesterday in court with who it was that was charged in the murder of my nephew, it hit our family real hard. It hit us close to home. It's a tragedy that the girlfriend of my beloved little cousin, Ralph Banks, will orchestrate an act of violence against his family. Something we as a family know he would have approved of. I ask my family and everyone else to hold their peace. Let the Lord fight the battle, and the investigators of the Skokie Police Department, who we truly appreciate and thank so much. Thank you. Yes. My name is Stanley Jones. Stanley Jones. Yes, the first young lady who was charged was the girlfriend of my cousin Ralph Banks, who was murdered about 5 or 6 months ago.
So your cousin that she was connected to is now deceased?
Yes.
But she's charged with orchestrating the shooting?
My sister's house.
Why was she confined?
Evilness.
Do you believe she was targeting those little boys, or was she targeting your family?
I can't say. I ain't the shooter. Can't say.
There were some threats, from what I read in the proffer, there were threats made on social media by her, I believe. When you guys got wind of those threats, did you guys go to police or did you know anything about those threats?
Well, we knew about the threats, but, you know, being so close to home, you don't take it as though it really would be played out. So we trusted God for everything else.
What message you have for her directly? What would you say to her?
I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for her family. She got to deal with this. She got to deal with it. She got to suffer, which she will. And I thank the Skokie police for it.
Do you know the other 2 suspects?
16-year-old little guy who allowed them to manipulate his mind to go do something like that. I feel sorry for his parents and everybody that love him. I hope that they can get back up, and they need to use God to get back up, and hopefully they will, but you got to pay for your crime.
Do you know them? Do you know the other 2 suspects?
No, sir.
Police officer said there were a lot of family members at Jeremiah's grandparents' house that night. Were you there?
No, not on this particular weekend, but that's a comfort place that we all go for comfort. My sister's house. I mean, it's just full of love. It's my sister right here. He can take some questions.
How y'all doing?
State your name, please.
My name is Centauria Williams Adams.
Spell it, please.
SENTORIA WILLIAMS Adams, ADAMAS. I'm Jeremiah's grandmother. Pardon me? You said how? I'm doing the best I can. It's been terrible. To know that someone would come and shoot my home up with my family in there, and considering the peoples that did that, I'm always barbecuing, I'm always cooking. I always have my grandkids over. They knew we was in. They knew that we was in that house as a family, and they've been putting threats on our life for the last since August the 23rd. They've been putting threats on our life for an incident that did not involve us at all. Ralph Bank, I love truly. I raised him in my home with at the time I had 4 kids. Ralph Bank and his mom and brother lived with us for 10 years. For 10 years. There's no way in hell I would allow someone to tell me that they did something to him and not say anything to anyone or let anyone know that someone's trying to hurt him. Jeremiah is my grandson. He's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart. He loves coming over to his nanny's house. He loves for me to cook. He just loved being with us. And I love having him over any chance I got.
You were there that night, you said, sleeping on the couch, putting some police report.
Yes.
When all of that, can you just kind of take us back a little bit? You know, when you heard the gunshots, what happened? What did you do?
I was kind of I was shook up a little bit because we had a metal fan there. So I didn't know what it was at first, and the fan was kind of shaking. So I'm guessing like one of the gunshots had hit the fan, and it was a metal fan. And it was shaking all on the floor, and I wasn't sure was it gunshots or did the kids throw something in the fan and hit the fan, and I wasn't sure at the time. But when I first woke up and I did hear something, I rolled to the floor straight to Jeremiah and Tyrell. And I started yelling, telling my husband that it's shots. He was saying, no one's shooting. It's the fan. Look at the fan. And I'm looking, but I grabbed Jeremiah, and my arm tucked under him, and I felt blood going through my fingers. So
What did you do?
I started yelling, call the police. And Skokie police, I called them, and I was yelling and screaming, and they was trying to calm me down. And they did arrive, and I was telling them it was shots, but I don't think they was that convinced it was shots right away. But by me sitting on that floor holding Jeremiah, and I had pumped him some in his chest. But as I'm sitting on the floor, I'm looking around, and I looked towards my window, which had an end table there and a lamp, and my computer was sitting there, and you can see the burnt holes through the shade of the lamp. So and I knew then it was bullets. Yes, of course. I relive it every day since then.
Neighbors say that there was a shooting in the same building before, maybe even in the same unit a couple of years ago.
We have no idea anything about that. We didn't know that until we had moved there, and some tenants had told us an incident had happened. I guess not inside the apartment, but outside the apartment. But we didn't know anyone there or anything related to that.
What school did he go to?
He went to Herzl Elementary over on the west side of Chicago.
What grade?
Well, third.
He's a 9-year-old boy. What did he like to do?
He loved dancing. He loved basketball. He loved being with his family and friends, and he loved eating. He loved seafood. One of his favorite dish, and cabbage. He called me Nanny. Yes.
Any update on the children's parents? How are they holding up?
What about
Here,
here?
here.
Is there anything that you guys would like to say?
No, I really don't.
Well, I'm Jeremiah, your father, Cecil Toussaint. Cecil Toussaint. Cecil Toussaint, Tousant.
How are you holding up, sir?
Trying, day by day. Day by day. I'm glad we got justice. And my baby it's his smile that brightened up the city. He loved TikTok. He just wanted to be a kid. We fight to tell him, not this weekend. We got you this weekend. But he managed to get his grandma, bring him. So it was just the smile of him. He loved his nanny. He wanted to be with his nanny so much.
And he was so thirsty he wanted to go to his nanny house and finish celebrating his birthday. That's it. That's all I have.
But his birthday
was
May 11th.
He had just turned 9, and with all the rub about someone gonna shoot my husband, and we didn't go over to the birthday party. So I told him that he can come over and we would, do something together. Earlier that day, I barbecued outside the home, and we just hung out there. And he was trying to get me to take him to Skokie Water Park the next day, and I wasn't sure if it was even open, and so that's what I told him. He'd have to wait till tomorrow, and we'll see. So that was our plan.
So Tamisha thought that your husband had done something.
Tamisha Clark and her.
Let the investigators answer that question. No further questions. Thank you.
Are there any further questions?
Could you provide us any insight into, she had mentioned that there were threats at her family that they had nothing to do with. Can you just talk to us a bit about the motive here and what this person, what these 3 suspects thought was going on and what their objective was and why they chose this house?
As it goes into discussing those details of the investigation, which is still ongoing, I know charges have been filed, but there's still more information to gather. I can't speak to specifics about what the motive may have been or not been.
Can you get us mugshots for those 3 people, please?
Absolutely. I have press releases ready for you guys to go.
Any criminal history with any of those 3?
No substantial adult criminal history with those subjects.
What are they telling you?
I can't speak about specifics of what their statements were to police or investigators in this case at this time. I can't answer that question right now.
Are there any others that you guys are looking for? Any other suspects involved in this?
At this time, we're not actively looking for anybody else, but that's not to say new evidence wouldn't come in at any time that could make that a possibility.
What message do you have for other possible witnesses who may have solved the murder of this child?
If there is anyone else out there that did see anything and hasn't reported it, please contact the Skokie Police Department. The community involvement in this case, witnesses, and just the video canvas and the people that have already helped out has been tremendous. So we encourage anyone to come forward if they have any information related to this case.
Were you guys notified of these threats on social media prior to the shooting?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Do you believe that the suspects knew that there were kids in that home and that was their target?
I can't speak to who the target exactly was in this case, but we can say that we do believe that that residence was targeted, but we can't say who the actual target is at this point.
According to court records, there were children referenced in the threat. So, I mean, can you guys connect those dots for us or no?
At this time, we can't give any specifics as to if any children were, in fact, specifically targeted and which children those may have been.
What's next for the investigation?
We're going to continue to gather evidence and make sure that the cases are strong going forward for the court cases and just go forward from there.
Can you say roughly how many bullets were fired into them?
Yes, 35 shell casings were recovered on the scene.
Is the youngest child, is that child out of the hospital?
Yes, the family would be able to speak more on that and give information, but as far as we know, he was treated at the hospital and released and is recovering at this time.
Was there more than one shooter?
At this time, I can't speak to specifics on who did what. They've all been charged in relation to this incident, so we'll let the court cases play out and all that information will come to light.
So to be clear, there's no clarity on who actually pulled the trigger, the 16-year-old, the 20-year-old, or the female? Was she there at the time of the shooting?
At this time, all I can say is that all three acted together in committing this crime and carrying it out from beginning to end. So, just a couple more questions if anyone has any.
Just to be clear, there were two on the scene that night, and then you guys arrested a third one, or were all three of them there that night?
The investigation has revealed that all three of them were there that night. Yes.
Okay.
Do you believe that she fired any shots?
I can't speak to who may or may not have fired any shots on the scene. Anything else?
Is there a direct message to the general public?
Safety is our #1 priority for the residents of Skokie and the surrounding area, and we're out there doing everything we can to prevent crimes from even happening. If you see something, say something, report it to us. We're there for you 24/7. Please call. We're there to respond and, to the needs of the community.
A lot of times people are scared to do that, though. Why is it important for them to come forward?
I can't make the decisions for people, but I'm telling you, the Skokie Police Department is there for the community and any residents who have any concerns. We're there for them.
Was there a shooting in the same building a couple of years ago?
There was an incident that happened several years ago, and this investigation has led to believe that there is no connection between the two events, no similar individuals involved.
So is that building, since she asked that question, is that building a problematic area in general, or are there a lot of calls to the building?
No, we have calls everywhere throughout the village. In this circumstance, it's just I believe, a coincidence. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.